He chose adventure over family. Now he wants back.
I'm 29 years old. I got married 6 years ago, but we've been divorced for 3. I have 2 sons from my ex-husband, Adam, who is 30. The kids are 4 and 5 years old. And I have full custody because Adam didn't want to carry the responsibility of raising a family. We were happy for the first 3 years of our marriage. We had 2 beautiful children and even planned to buy our own house to move out of our apartment. Everything was going well until one day Adam told me he wanted to be free and explore the world. We had been together since high school, and we were everything to each other. He was my first in everything, and I was his. I always thought we'd be together forever. He seemed content with his life and our family. He didn't have a lot of experience with other women, but I thought he was happy with that. But after 3 years of marriage, he told me that he wasn't happy, not with me, but with life. He felt stuck and wanted adventure and spontaneity. He wanted to find himself. I was shocked, confused. I asked if there was someone else, but he swore there wasn't. He promised me he wasn't the type of person to cheat. I believed him, but when he said he needed to explore, I didn't know what to think. I even suggested we try an open marriage temporarily, though it would have hurt me. I was willing to do anything to keep him from leaving, but he insisted on getting a divorce so everything could be fair. I couldn't understand it. I didn't know what had happened to the man I married. One day, he packed his things and left. He said he wanted to experience life alone and wanted to be free. He didn't even blink when he walked out, leaving me and our 2 young children behind. I asked him, "What about the kids?" He simply told me to leave them with someone I trusted and to go live my own life. I was devastated. I couldn't believe he could abandon his family like that. And that's when I truly realized that his priorities had completely changed. The divorce was easy for him. He didn't want anything, and I didn't fight for it. His family was wealthy, so there were no issues with child support. He had visitation rights, but he hardly ever used them. When he did come around, he made me drive the kids to his parents' house, where he stayed in another room, avoiding the past entirely. But even those visits stopped after a few months. Months passed, and I focused on raising our children. I worked hard to provide for them and give them a good life, even though Adam's absence was still painful. But I had to move on for their sake. One day, apparently Adam's group of friends, 6 or 7 guys, had all made a pact to live a life free of relationships and commitments. They believed that love and family were chains holding them back. Adam was introduced to this group by one of his colleagues, even though at the time Adam was married and had children. But somehow they convinced him that having a wife and kids was a burden, and that he needed to let go to truly find himself. They succeeded in brainwashing him. Adam left everything behind, leaving his wife and kids for the thrill of their empty ideology. Rachel's cousin boasted that they had recruited Adam into their ranks and that he was their biggest victory. When Rachel heard this, she immediately contacted me. I was shocked to learn the truth, and honestly, it made me even angrier than the initial shock of him leaving. He didn't leave me for another woman. He left me for an illusion, for a fantasy of freedom that would never fulfill him. When I found out the real reason for his departure, it felt worse than if he had just left for another woman. At least then, there would have been a reason I could understand. But this was just absurd. To think that he had abandoned everything we built for some shallow idea of freedom was infuriating. After the divorce, I poured myself into my work. I made sure my children never felt the absence of their father, even though they deserved so much more. I hired a nanny and started working twice as hard to make sure they had everything they needed. I didn't need Adam anymore. I built a life for myself and my children, and it felt good. 2 years later, my hard work paid off. I earned a better position at work and made more money than I had ever imagined. I was finally able to start thinking about buying a house. Life was going well, and I thought I had finally moved on from the pain of my divorce. But then, just last week, Adam showed up at my door. I hadn't seen him in over 3 years. He showed up with a bouquet of red roses, looking exactly the same as he did when he left. But something about him was different. He had a sad, desperate look in his eyes. He begged me to take him back, saying that he regretted everything. He told me how much he had missed our life together and how he wanted to come home. I didn't know what to feel. Part of me wanted to let him back in. It felt like he was finally realizing the mistake he made. But the other part of me, the part that had been hurt so deeply, knew that I could never go back to him. He told me he wanted a second chance. He said that the thrill of adventure had faded, and now he was left with emptiness. He said he needed to make things right. But I couldn't hear it. I couldn't look at him and pretend everything would be okay. He had made his choice, and now it was my turn to make mine. I told him, "No. You made your choice. You left us for something that didn't matter. You can't just come back because things didn't turn out the way you thought. We're fine without you." He tried to argue, but I couldn't listen anymore. I had built a life for my children, and I had no space for someone who didn't value us. He had left us for a life of adventure, and now he was regretting it. But it was too late. I ended the conversation and closed the door. I haven't seen him since. Looking back, I don't regret what I did. I did the best I could for my children, and I showed them what it means to be strong and self-sufficient. Adam made his choices, and now he has to live with them. I will never let anyone, especially him, disrupt the life I've worked so hard to build. And as for him, he'll figure it out, but it won't be with me. He had his chance, and he threw it away.
These meds are making me hate everyone.
Reflection on the consequences. Sometimes the hardest part of moving on isn't the pain of losing someone. It's the realization that they never really valued you to begin with. I gave everything for my family, and Adam couldn't see that. But now I'm stronger, and I'm teaching my kids what real love and loyalty look like. Adam may have chosen adventure over family, but in the end, it's my family that has everything it needs. And that's all that matters.